Showdown. Today's topic is hunters. Hunters at the forefront of the core hunt experience for everybody. Straight off the bat, if you're new to the game, you're presented with a choice. And you are bound to be forever selecting a hunter of that choice for the rest of your hunt days. Now, that decision may come down to overall look or the idea of that particular character that really appeals to you, or perhaps it's the assigned loadout or traits that ultimately factor in on that decision. One of these aspects is, of course, ultimately focused around gameplay, and a big part of that is perhaps visibility and aesthetics. So before I go into anything, I'll just introduce you guys first. We have Ambi and Nufne. Nufne, I should say. Both Twitch streamers. And both of you guys recently caught my eye regarding this topic, but we'll go back to that in a bit. Ambi, I've known you for a little while.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm talking to a cartoon, but never mind.
What are you? Wow.
Direct front.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Ambi, have you got a favourite hunter of choice?
Looks wise, not really. If they come with Doctor, then I'm peachy. That's about it. That's my priority. Doctor, that's it.
The Doctor trait is your priority.
Yes.
But there's no hunter out there that catches your eye.
I would say I do like North Star. She looks cool.
Okay.
And she's purple, and that's like the closest we're going to get to pink, so that's a plus for me there.
Fair enough.
I think she's my favorite.
Fair enough. Okay. Nufne, in reality, obviously we've only just really met. But I believe you are a connoisseur of clothing from around that time period or thereabouts.
That's true.
Have you got a favorite hunter of choice?
I do have two. I do love the Phillies. But the problem is everyone is literally playing Phillies. But the second choice, which I'm constantly playing, is Prodigal Daughter. Because I do like the looks, and it's not the typical absolute female looking hunter. And I kind of like that.
So the Prodigal Daughter, okay. So you do choose your hunters on perhaps how it looks?
Not always. It depends on how much money I have. But I would say traits are more important than looks.
Okay, fair enough. So we also have Toxic Pancake, who primarily puts all his content out on YouTube. And the guy I've known since, well, probably the release of console, I think, just dotted around. So obviously you do a lot of showcasing like hunt material, usually even before it's out, I've noticed. I see you got a few tactics videos in there, but the thing that sort of brings you here is because you do your own concept designs for hunters as well.
I do, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
So, have you got a favorite hunter at the moment?
I do, I've got two, I think. I like Carter because he's got those sexy gloves. And I think the redneck, because I think if you see a redneck, it's about the mind game.
Okay.
Everyone's like intimidated by the meme potential of what you're bringing to the fight. So,
fair enough. Yeah, that's an interesting choice. Cool. Okay. So we also have Nix with us as well. He is in no way representing Crytek today. I've known Nix even before he joined Crytek, and his work then, his content he was putting out primarily was showcasing scenery, hunters, all that kind of stuff. And you also won the video hunt showdown thingy-me-bob. I can't remember, was that with the black coat? Was that the black coat video? You're on mute. Check
It
this
was
guy
the
out.
Phantom video that one.
Oh, it was the Phantom video. Okay.
Yeah, I made the Black Coat and the Phantom video, but the Phantom video won.
Okay.
And I had another one. The lead I work for now was the guy that did that was on stream to show all the videos and talk about it. He liked all three of them. So it's good to hear.
But ultimately, it was the Phantom one that bagged you the win.
I had to pick one, so
I had to pick one. Okay. It's very interesting that period of what people were doing at that time, because I think people were going off showcasing like already existing legendary characters in the game, and then there were guys that were going off, myself included, that were trying to come up with other ones as well, like a hunter that no one knew about or anything like that, just trying to introduce something new. But that was really interesting. I don't know how you put in all that time for 2 videos. It took me about 2 weeks to do one.
I actually had 2 weeks off of work, and
Well, there you go.
I was already doing the Black Coat one, sort of. I was already making the video because the Black Coat one was mostly just me killing people, so it wasn't really a story video, as in how it should have gone for the contest. The Phantom video took me like a week to record everything, I think. And then I had a week left to make something with the leftovers. So it wasn't too bad.
Crazy. Well, congrats on that win. If I haven't already said that, I'm sure I have several times, probably in the past.
Yeah.
So welcome everyone. How is everyone doing this evening anyway? All got your drinks?
Yep.
All
I'm
good?
good.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
All good.
So, with these community groups, the main focus is for you guys to have your say, maybe fire over some ideas that you have, or maybe you may have an idea that forms during this chat. Any feedback, as they say, is good feedback, and we're just trying to suss out, obviously, what is it about hunters that, because it's a topic that comes up from time to time, what people would love to see in the game, and so on. So to kick things off, we'll start off really simple. The upcoming Bonebriar DLC. Does anyone have any thoughts about that, and what was the first thing that popped into your head as soon as you saw it?
Tarzan.
Tarzan.
Yeah, I like it.
Tarzan.
I
For me,
thought,
I just thought cavemen.
yeah.
Okay.
I thought, here we go, another half-naked male hunter. Woohoo!
What's the other half-naked male hunter? I mean, this guy's practically naked, isn't he?
Redneck.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
all the
redneck
skin
got
out.
some
Well,
Nip showing.
Nips, side boob, yeah.
Yeah, the side bit of redneck is legendary.
okay. Okay.
All I saw was Tom Hanks in Castaway.
I can see that.
Yeah. Does he have a Wilson with him? Will there be a football we can kick around?
No,
That'd be fun.
no,
Oh, okay.
sadly. Would have been cool.
Fair enough.
I'm sure if we got emotes, there would be a football if there were emotes in Hunt.
I would love there to be emotes in Hunt. I think that would be fantastic. Nix and myself, we were playing the other day with a good friend of mine, Genie. He had me in stitches just because he just had put this vision in my head of stabbing someone and then just doing a robot emote afterwards. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
The taunting potential is quite high with emotes. I like it.
The what?
You
Sorry?
have to keep it in time period, though. I
Like,
wouldn't do robot dances and stuff.
Well, they could have existed.
You
What do
told
you
me
mean?
they didn't have robots in 1895.
I mean, if you believe the movie Wild West, then yeah.
Hmm.
But I wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so the Bonebriar. Obviously, when is that? That's out this Friday, isn't it? on the 30th.
30th, yeah.
Yeah. So, with the last few releases, from what I've noticed, there seems to be this different trend of they've changed the direction somewhat of these hunters. And I kind of felt like at the start, obviously, a lot of the legendary characters were very fitting with the game's overall theme. They had a bit of a serious tone to them, maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
Just maybe on the aesthetic side as well. They fitted in with the overall theme and maybe the lore as well. But these designs that we're starting to see now, probably starting off with Nifny's favorite prodigal daughter. Probably around about then, we started seeing them these designs coming out of their shell. So that they're going slightly, I won't say crazy, but definitely different. Definitely
Yeah,
different.
for sure.
Definitely
Yeah.
got a
Yes.
unique kind of flair to them. Quite cool.
Yeah. So do you agree that this is a good direction that they're heading in?
Oh, absolutely. There's so much scope in the lore, the time period. They could pretty much they could do a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? And I think it's a good thing.
And I feel like a lot of the original ones were they were cool, but they were like the basic kind of, you got a reverend or you got a sheriff.
Yeah.
Now this time they've got a bit more to them. Like the Beast Hunter, you can kind of look at everything on him, and kind of every part makes sense, like all of his padding and stuff. And it's kind of a bit of a unique spin on what people would do when they're in an apocalypse, as opposed to who they were before. Quite interesting, and I quite like that.
I do think it's rather difficult, to be honest, because of the way it can go. So if it goes in a rather more too fantastic direction, I feel like it still should suit into the time period. Yet, I mean, it's their own law, but it can go wrong. And right now, with the new skin, he looks good, but I was actually a bit worried where the whole skin thing is going.
Okay.
In what way?
Like it's going a bit too crazy.
So you think
Like
before the Bone Briar everything was acceptable, but now this guy is just he's crossed the line.
I wouldn't say he crossed the line, but it's like a thin line between in what direction you can go in my opinion about this whole time period thing, because like I said, for me, when I saw this skin, I directly thought caveman.
Yeah. Well, that's the intention, though, isn't it? Because he's called Cain as well.
And that was the moment when I thought about, so what if in Hunt is now time traveling or something? I think that would be so crazy. I mean, at the end, you can explain every skin with lore. That's a thing. But I saw it in quite a few different games where they also developed more and more characters and more different designs, and they wanted to top the other design and made it even better and better. And they somehow lost the overall topic. And I do love fun, but that's what quite worries me, that it could go in that direction, which doesn't have to, but yes.
Well, I don't think it will. I mean, I feel like you feel that because it looks like a caveman.
Might
but
be.
If you just live in the wild, you start to look like that as well. It doesn't mean that he is a caveman. I don't think that
That's
they'll
true.
lose their way because, like others have said, like there's so many ways to go with the lore and whatnot. I think they'll stick to the overall theme of the game. But it's good, in my opinion, to see. It's good, in my opinion, to see that they're taking a little bit more risk. Like all the other skins were like safer in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what
more
I
like,
think too.
Yeah.
I feel like a kind of feral wilderness man isn't too much of a stretch.
I get where you're coming from though, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Like-
feel that way myself.
For me, Beast Hunter, I feel like he's like really over the top because he just looks like RoboCop, with the guy from Star Trek, right? And it's just like, what's this design? But I'm fine with Kane. It's kind of funny how like people think differently. I mean,
everyone's different perceptions on what you kind of associate the character to look like.
Yeah.
Might draw you out of it a bit, but I guess all kind of depends on people's opinion.
I like the direction they're going in.
Yeah,
I think
everything's
it's going to be interesting.
Nicely.
But I think for me, I think Brombeyer is definitely maybe that's the line. That's got to be. Well, where can you go from there? I don't know. Yeah. My favorite hunter out of the legendary guys is the Reverend. Not because of the way he looks or anything like that. I just there's more, I think, surrounding. I think one of the aspects that Hunt really doesn't put out there in the lore, because it doesn't really make a difference to, or probably shouldn't, is the religious aspect. Like, what are these characters? What's their take on that? What is their faith at that time, especially after this Louisiana event and everything else? And it interests me because he's not obviously a typical reverend. I mean, you don't go to church on Sunday and your reverend's, tattooed from head to toe, right? So it's just an interesting character, but that's my take on that. And maybe that's crazy in itself. I don't know.
Would you like to see a nun added to pair with him?
Now,
little...
I don't know. It depends. They'd have to expand on the whole religion thing, I think, ever so slightly, even if it's just in the lore or something like that.
There's a nun artwork on Twitter which looks really good. They tweeted it today. Let me find.
Was it the nun?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looked amazing.
That's quite like is it the Night Seer and the Acolyte? Because they've got those kind of cool tattoos.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think that's an interesting design point. There is.
That's the nun there.
Is why the tattoos? Where's all this come from? That kind of thing. It's just a minor detail that no one cares about, obviously, because you're not looking at a hunter, like 80% of the time anyway that you're playing the game. But
yeah,
just one of those things that I think is there to be questioned. Maybe I don't know if in the lore if there is anything about marking yourself or tattooing or anything like that.
Well, they're part of a cult, right, or a religious thing, aren't they? So that makes sense for that. Why they have tattoos? I think it's part of their cult. I keep saying cult. I mean, their religious group. I don't know if it's a cult, but
okay.
I feel like it's related to that.
Fair enough. So, Bambe and Nufne, both you guys have recently expressed that the want for more female hunters.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not necessarily. I know you're not suggesting that the game overall needs more female hunters or anything like that, but you're just wanting to see some more quirky hunters in the same sort of vein that we're seeing these crazy hunters right now, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
So have you got any ideas for what you would like to see?
Other than I've said it twice before, like the female redneck. I don't know why we don't get that. Like,
I would love that. That'd be so good.
I don't understand why they won't add it. I don't know. I'm just gonna be like, why can't we have female redneck? It makes sense to me. Because they brought Redneck out and they're like, yeah, and they're all excited because it's because he looks different and stuff, and it's like, why can't we have the female version?
Like an old farmer's wife with a missing and like an apron.
Exactly.
Well,
I was more vocal on Twitter by saying big tits and side boob, but hunters I'd like to see. Kind of like a Southern Belle type. She's got like a ripped up dress or something. That would be cool. I think more feminine huntresses in the way that they, wear feminine clothing, even if they have to like modify it to make it fit with the setting of like running around, traipsing around and stuff like that. Something we were talking about was like a Russian bride type of character who's like been scorned or something, and she's got like a ripped up wedding dress or something. That came out when I was talking to some people the other day. Stuff like that. I think there's a lot of like things that happen in that time period that you could turn into a hunter or huntress, and I think they don't really capitalize on that. So
Fair
yeah,
enough.
that's my big two.
Nix, it looks like you were gonna chime in there.
I think I've seen the Russian Bride as a fan art somewhere.
I think the one I've seen too is the designer contest. I'm pretty sure there was one in there.
That was Mother Russia, I think.
Yes, I think it was that, and I love
The
that.
contest had some crazy good looking
And I was
hunter
like,
concepts.
but we're never gonna get those hunters into the game though. That's what kind of sucks.
Oh, there were a lot of really good looking skins.
Yeah.
For myself, I felt like I do love the idea of having more trio skins in general, like where you can see those kind of they're together. I mean, you have the Bone Doctor, Weird Sister, and Felice that going in this trio skin direction, and that's why I came up on Twitter, as you also saw, that I would love to have a redneck mama who looks like she can fucking spit with her chewing tobacco in your face and give you a headshot with that. Like super angry. I want more, not just like Bombay said, feminine character, but I want more diversity on that kind. And like, I want old characters, I want young characters, I want someone who looks. I don't want always a pretty character or a super cool like dark looking character. I also want to have characters who look like they got stuck in the whole thing and they went through shit. And I also would love to see more female hunters who look like that and who also suit more in the trio skin category.
Okay. Nix is smiling because he probably knows a lot more than yeah. Maybe not.
I just make videos, man. I don't know anything. I agree, though. I wouldn't mind having more female characters, even if it's just like sort of counterparts to some of the male legendary characters we have. Like, I wouldn't mind that. Would be cool.
Yeah,
a female Billy. Holy shit!
Oh, right.
Well, I want to talk about the hunter customization because I think that's something that's been on the roadmap for a really long time. Really long time. So, we'll come to that. We'll come to that, I'm sure. The map, when we had several teasers with that, obviously we got a glimpse of what were perhaps natives. And I know that's something that I think has been in the community on top of the list as well, you know, just because of the time period, you know, and the location probably.
Say anytime I see anything about hunters, they're always the top requested, I think.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Like, we're coming up to 3 years release and still no Native America, and it kind of... I don't like that, I'll be honest.
Well,
I feel like it should have been done a long time ago.
Perhaps. I mean, I don't know, obviously, with game development, like, where the schedules and what priorities are always chosen, but I know it's been something that's always been up there. And maybe because of the kind of weapons they would use as well, that might come into account, you know, because not having those kind of mechanics in game at current anyway, you know, if they're going to introduce natives, you know, they're going to introduce a bow and whatever else, you know, and you can probably looking at, you know,
True.
I mean, this is a speculation because we all saw a bow, right? So
we did.
But wasn't there a thing in the past where they actually traded for weapons? They traded their goods for weapons and stuff. So it wouldn't be impossible that they already used a few weapons.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's how it's going to play out in the game anyway, isn't it? Probably. So the introduction of natives, how do you see that happening? I mean, Nix can't say anything, obviously, if he knows anything, but just from my point of view, I think it would be a slight bit of a cop-out if they just added natives as just an extra sort of DLC. Like we saw with like Fellas and maybe the Redneck as part of an update, and they were just, you know, they weren't like purchasable DLC. I personally would like to see them introduced in the pool of current hunters as they are as well. You know, so we've got tier 1, tier 2,
it'd be nice
tier
to
3.
get more tier 2, tier 3 regular hunter skins, because you're kind of used to all the current ones now if you played it enough.
Yeah.
So to add more of those kind of
Yeah.
common pools would be quite nice as well.
But this is also where it comes in, like we touched on just about the hunter customization. How would that come into play mechanically? I mean, obviously, I'm not a developer, so I have no idea how they're going to look at redoing that entire system. But obviously, if with the current system as is, I would like to see the natives added in tier 1, both sexes, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, even if it's just one type, you know, because I think that's only right, I think, for something
That'd
that's
be
been
good.
so longly requested.
I think it'd be best case scenario for me too. That's what
Yeah.
I'd like.
Nix, any thoughts on that? Can't say.
No,
Can't-
but if they do it for the natives, yeah, I'd like them to do it with all the other ethnicities. I can't say that word.
Ethnicities.
That's the one, yeah, that are in the game. Like, just have them like in a pool of the normal ones as well as the legendaries. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you could introduce them through event.
I think that's something that is probably happening, right? So
I think so. They did talk about an event soon, TM.
I
A
guess
while
get
back, though.
like a bit of both. If you could have the more common looking native skins,
yeah.
and then one flashy, cool war chief guy. It's like a event reward or something.
I think because in the video, the map teaser, I feel like they showed a male and a female Native American.
Two, I think. Yeah.
So I feel like if they're doing an event, I'd hope both are rewards in the event, and like not have one as the main like reward and then the other one you just got to buy. I wouldn't really like it like that. I'd rather you unlock both at the same time.
yeah, you want to. I mean, for me, I'd like to see both male and female.
Yeah.
And in tier 1, and
Yeah.
dressed appropriately as tier 1, as their counterparts are at current.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then obviously tier 2, tier 3, etc. If they do introduce, like they did with the Chinese characters as well, you know, side by side, male, female, and do it that way, you know, that I don't know. This is just speculation, obviously, like just because I think if there is a customization system coming into play, how are we going to get, especially all these ethnicities, all in place and put together?
So in my mind, customization means like changing your clothing color or something like that. I don't think it'll be as in depth as, you know, changing skin tones and things like that. That's what I think, at least.
I just pictured it as like the current outfits that are in the game. For all the characters, you'd kind of get to mix and match them. So you'd have like the top half of one and stuff like that, or a hat. You unlock different hats and things. Sort of what I pictured it maybe being.
So one of the things that I keep on joking with Dennis, or I haven't done so in a long time, but is prestige awards.
Oh yeah, I think that's a perfect tie-in, really, isn't it?
That's a good time to bring customization. So obviously, if you get to prestige 100, you know, you can unlock all the really cool looking stuff. all the stuff that makes a hunter a little bit more concealed, maybe hoods, maybe some
That'd be cool.
war paint,
That would
all that
actually
kind of
make
stuff.
you want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make you want to prestige.
Definitely. If you had access to, the ability just to add something cool to your hunter, I think that's where the key is to incentivizing prestiging. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
That as well, but I thought, or I've talked with my community as well about the whole thing because it's a really interesting topic as well. We thought like it would make legendary hunters not as wanted anymore as they are. So we thought like not customization options for the tier 1 to tier 3 hunters, but for legendary hunters, like you have, for example, Felice, you have different bone masks or such things, or for Billy, a different jacket or something like that. So it would come in quite handy for the legendary hunters, and that's what we thought
Yeah, I guess
would
if
make
you
sense the most.
Yeah, if you allowed the legendary hunters to be edited too, that kind of gives you more incentive to buy them and add those cool clothing options to your roster of stuff.
I mean, you can even make some. If we want to take it further, you could even make some weapon quests or something like that to unlock a certain weapon. Like do I don't know, 100 melee kills to unlock a certain skin part for a legendary hunter X, Y, whatever. So it would kind of give for a lot of people more the way that they will stick to hunt more. Because right now, I mean, we do all love hunt and it's fun, always having different fights, but it still gets after like 2,000 or 3,000 hours a bit repetitive. So having such things added would actually give a new purpose on playing this game much longer, to have everything unlocked.
A nice balance between having some of the rewards in the prestige and some of them, like you said, in challenges, because that would kind of incentivize you to play more. Like you said, like 100 knife kills and you get like a cool knife or something.
And then you could show it off with your favorite hunter or something like that. Like someone would be like, "Oh, that mask. Oh, that's from this or that quest or mission. Wow, he or she has it. That's crazy."
It's like that guy has 200 kills with the Derringer. That must be a legend. That kind of thing.
Yeah, like that. Oh, that must be a Redneck or a Billy quest then.
Sure. Yeah.
Nix, any thoughts on?
Not really, because I never really thought about the whole customization stuff and how it would be implemented or how they would envision it. And I don't know how I would envision it. The way Nufna talked about it made the most sense, but then for like not just the legendaries but all the hunters, yeah, it would be cool if you had like achievements that unlocked certain special items or clothing items and stuff to. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having it as a prestige unlock either. That'd be, yeah.
So
some cool ideas.
So what you're saying, Nufna, is you'd prefer to keep like the legendary hunters as they are separate, but also come with their own customization options.
Yes. Like I said, there are a lot of people who kind of have their signature legendary hunter skin, and I'm very sure about that. There are some people who would love to show off if they had the option to customize it more, to identify with it quite more, because they have this certain combination or this certain achievement skins or something like that unlocked for this hunter. It would made it more diverse. I mean, if we think about it longer, like we saw Billy, for example, in this certain skin so often. Like, is he never changing clothes? But yeah.
It also means that like when you encounter multiple of the same legendary, they'd look different, so it wouldn't quite be as like copy and pasted.
What if legendary hunters such as Billy, for example, like you could separate his coat and you could equip that on like a tier 1, or tier 2, or maybe even the Bronebriar when he gets cold in the winter, right? How
I
about
don't know about that.
not taking
I
an aspect or
Nah.
no, nothing like
No.
that. Okay.
I think that would be a bit too much, and that I feel like then people are only not Billy but other hunters, and for this certain skin part to equip it on their tier 1 or tier 2 or whatever hunter, then it doesn't really matter anymore if it's a tier 1 or tier 2, tier 3 hunter. If you
also feel
can
like-
just equip from legendary hunters their clothing.
Maybe if they are going to bring in this system and they look at the tiers, because I know the tiers before 1.0 they actually meant something, didn't they? And this is going well back
Yeah.
into.
I heard about the health thing, yeah.
So
Oh, it was hell.
yeah, so if the system, if the entire system is completely redone in such a way that means you're not always, you'll have options with being able to choose, I guess, what you want, and the tiers won't matter if they just abolish the tiers altogether. So, like you say, you can make something that you may identify with, because I think most players probably do to some point. They, maybe have a connection, or they do identify, or a certain hunter appeals to them, just the way they look, and they kind of think that's my guy. I mean, there's certainly guys out there that do only choose one, hunter, and that's it, just because of the way she or he looks. Why is Nick smiling? What are you smiling at now?
Leave me alone.
So you know that just smile. Oh no.
It's almost like I'm saying something and he's just holding back.
He knows things.
No, there's a few
He
people
knows
I know that stick to one hunter. But I didn't want to say anything, so keep going.
Well, this includes you then. People do that. But if you had the option to change, which hunter is it that you usually go?
I don't have a specific hunter I usually pick. I just pick whatever, and from the legendaries, I don't really pick legendaries that often. I have moments where I do a black coat and then it's bone doctor or whatever. I don't know. I don't really care
And
about how they look. Or
is that something you've always done since the beginning of playing Hunt?
I never looked at anything. I don't even, in the beginning I looked more at health because I preferred the health setup of some hunters, but that's about it. I'm not into the whole seeing what kind of traits they come with or what health setup or whatever. I just pick a hunter and go. I don't really care.
Interesting. So, but I mean, there are people out there that do definitely on looks alone, whether it's for, like I say, because it appeals to them, or maybe they're wanting to meme. But giving those people back that connection with a certain hunter, being able to customize it and stuff. I think that would be interesting. But I think the whole system would have probably need an overhaul, I'm sure.
I think it's a lot more work than people think, because there's nothing in the
Yeah.
game now that they can use that's similar, so they have to build a whole system just for that. So
Yeah.
Well,
it'd be interesting to see if this hunter customization thing comes into play. I hope it does. In my lifetime.
Me too. It would be cool.
Oh yes.
So, Pancake, have you, through your concepts and designs, have you come up with anything that you really, really passionately think definitely has to be in the game?
Well, I kind of sketched out one today that I was quite excited for, and it kind of ties in with the new map quite nicely. So I was like, this is a solid idea that has to happen, and if it doesn't, I'm going to be sad. But I think a couple of us in one of the groups noticed that there's a bee farm that's been added.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this kind of idea that maybe there was a local bee farmer who went a bit crazy, and instead of farming bees, he started farming hives. So he's in a similar respect to the Plague Doctor. He's got his over the top protective gear that he'd wear during his occupation, but has maybe taken it a bit too far. And he could come with a legendary hive bomb that's in like a little honey jar or something like that.
Okay. It's interesting.
That sounds cool.
That sounds really cool.
I can picture it.
Yeah. I'd also like him to come with a Springfield compact striker, but that's just because I really want a skin for that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Mambe, have you got any ideas that you thought of? Something that you can definitely see in the game?
Something I can definitely see. I'm not sure. One thing I would like to see, though, since we're talking about ethnicity, I can't say it now. Asian male hunters. If you want to play those, you have to buy the DLC. They are the only type. I'm using quote marks type of hunter that are not their baseline. I don't think that's fair, because there's so many, white skins and black skins, and then you've got the Asian ones. There's one Asian female who gets reused up the tiers, and there's no Asian male, and I don't know why.
It'd be nice to update like the common skins with some more.
Yeah. So I think just even if they just add one model, because how many times has it been where, for me especially, because I am Asian as well, but it's like there's games where no one looks like you, and it's really important for identity to have stuff like that. So for Crytek to put it behind a paywall is kind of shitty, pardon my language. So that's like the one thing I would definitely want. Just an Asian male, just to even it all out, just to equal it for everyone.
Oh, I get that. That's
yeah.
a good observation. I hadn't really.
I mean, I tweeted about this months and months ago. I was talking about this whole thing about what I'd like to see in Hunt, and I mentioned back then there's still no Asian male in the normal tiers, so that's probably the one thing I'd keep campaigning for if I was going to.
Okay. Maybe, I mean, looking at this Hunter customization,
yeah,
that could be a twofold thing. One, it might be great, but two, it might actually almost take away the ethnic characters.
True. But I think that say if you could customize their actual physical features and their facial features, I think a lot of people who are people of color will definitely try and tailor their characters to look more like how they look. So I don't see it as a bad thing either, but it's just going to be 50-50, I think.
So, I mean, even things like where, like we were talking about the Russian bride, for example, if she was introduced in a plausible world, if she was introduced to the game, obviously she's going to be Caucasian. She's from Russia, but that whole Russian identity might go out the window with Hunter customization, Whereas it's obviously it's the ethnic side, which is what you're getting at, is important. Which it is. Yeah.
So that part of me just thinks that if we're going to have customization, it will just be purely cosmetic, clothing, guns, skins, tints, stuff like that, and not actually changing the hunter itself.
Yeah.
Because that would be literally doing like a mini character creation before you get into the game each time, and I feel like it would just be too much for most people, and they'll just stick with whatever's default because they can't be asked to customize it each time as well.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Because it's different in a single player game or something where your character lives for a long time, but every time having to redo it or I don't.
Because
if you go through characters,
just don't die, Nix.
As well.
Yeah.
Oh, just don't die.
Just don't die.
I mean,
that's good advice. That's
or
good advice.
Proceed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been asking for default loadouts for ages. You know what I mean? I doubt they'd give us a default customization thing to one click apply your face to this, you know. I can't see that happening. It'd be nice though. It'd be interesting to see if they could do it, but I can't see it being like change your, you know, character's physical appearance completely.
Okay. Anyone got any other thoughts on hunters overall?
How about we do have more different people representing certain jobs?
Yes.
Like a fisherman, or even I'm sure Desal, for example, had definitely something about a brothel, maybe, or a bartender or something like that. And
Banker.
I just
Sorry.
imagine like there are definitely more people who maybe stayed there when the whole thing went crazy, and tried to survive there because they had no other option. They had no option to leave. So why not having, in that case, legendary hunter or even tier 1 to tier 3, who represent more common jobs of people who stayed there?
You've
Well,
really,
sounds
you've
like
really thought
other
about this,
people-
haven't you? Like someone getting stuck in the middle of this event when it's all kicking off, and you know, does it keep you up at night?
Yeah, I do love to think about such things, to think about stories, what happened, what might have happened, and that's something I really do for fun. It's the same with we spoke about it earlier with the whole clothing research and such things, because I find it really interesting on what impact might be there for certain people. I mean, if you're rich enough, you can just take your stuff and go. But if you don't have the income, especially during that time of period, there was barely an option to leave, actually, because you had your farm and that was everything you had. If you would just leave, then you literally had nowhere else to go. So, yes. I also do love thinking about possible stories.
It is an
That's what
extremely good
I-
outlook because all these hunters that are introduced are brought in because of the event. They're all
Yes.
bounty hunters, and you know they've heard of the event, and they've come from maybe across the country or other countries because of the event. So I think the redneck he's home to Moses Poultry, right?
Yeah.
So there's someone there, but he was introduced into the game before Desal was even released. So there's a little tie in there with the lore and maybe his background.
I never noticed that. That's cool.
But yeah, and obviously like Pancake, you were saying about, you know, having a beekeeper, you know, someone that's got a role from the
I
new
think
map.
well, there's so much detail in the maps themselves that, like, having those kind of connections with the characters that would live there at the time would be really interesting.
Yeah, maybe we have in some certain maps a lot of letters to read. For example, more battery. There are quite a few letters that you can read if you have a scope, for example, or just very good eyes. And yeah, why not taking this lore further and introducing more characters that actually still live there somewhere, but we just didn't figure out where they're from or what is their special story behind it.
There's more characters that are from the area, like the Revenant.
Oh yeah, I love that story.
And you have to keep in mind that the hunters are all hired by or recruited by the American Hunter Association because they have to go through the whole ritual to become a hunter. So be cool to have more actual like different jobs or hunters that actually look like they were there when it all happened, but it wouldn't be that many because you'd still have to go through the whole ritual and get into the whole hunter association in that way.
Not all
We
the
would
hunters,
definitely.
not all of them have gone through this. I mean, look at
Excuse me.
Feral Boy, Bonebriar. He's definitely not gonna go through some.
What if he was the original one?
I don't know. It looks like he just woke up. out of some cave.
You're not somebody that reads the lore, so you shouldn't really.
Is there any lore about this guy?
He just popped up.
There won't
Check
be.
back on the 30th for his bio, okay?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you know, he's someone that looks like he's in the middle of it all. He's just woken up, doesn't know what year it is, or what the hell's going on.
Do you think he was frozen in ice or something for ages?
Who knows? I don't know.
There's good theories going on in the Discord's lore discussion about him. Because there's a lot of stuff in the lore that sort of coincide with his story. So there's a lot of theories about it that may or may not be true.
Okay. Is there anything, any weapon or creature in particular that we can read this lore from? Where he may or may not be mentioned?
I don't know where to get all the info from because I don't really. I follow the lore from the lore discussion and stuff that comes by. I don't know where they get it from myself. There's a lot just in the book of monsters and the book of weapons and all that stuff, but I don't know. I can't point you in the exact direction.
So you expect us to read it all?
Yes.
Okay.
For example, for the Reverend, you can read something about him in the lore of grants. That's where you can find something.
Isn't the researcher the guy that writes all the lore books?
I don't know.
I don't know. Nix, is it? Do you know?
I think the researcher has written some stuff from back then, not the one, because there's another one that is documenting everything from the present day. I don't know if that's still the case. A lot of things have been changed during, but like years ago, there was one person that documented everything now and found stuff that the researcher had written and researched back then.
There's also a diary of a young woman. It's from the Hive story.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've read
That
that.
story
Where
is
you can
brutal.
find.
That one's
Oh
creepy.
yes, that actually gave me goosebumps. That story.
Hmm.
You should read it, Subtle. You should read it sometime.
I mean, there's stuff that I have read and picked up on, but only because of certain weapons that have intrigued me, or monsters that, you know. There's a lot of mention of snakes, a lot,
Oh.
and yet I haven't seen a single snake. So I don't know really how much of this lore I want to get involved with. You know, how
Just
deep
because
do I
there's
need
no
to go?
snakes.
Because what? Sorry.
Just because there's no snakes.
Well, you know, I'm reading about snakes and I've yet to see one.
The lore
There's
promised
snakes on book
snakes.
covers.
I mean, there's plenty of weapon skins, I think, that are almost named after snakes. Or
That's what happened to them. They became skins.
They became
Yeah.
weapon skins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They became a nitro.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Is it the hand crossbow?
Oh, it's the big one.
The hand crossbow is about this larger snake, isn't it? Like a double-headed snake or something like that. I'm hoping that there's going to be a boss, or maybe even a double snake-headed
You snack boss.
hunter.
Oh god, no. Please no.
Since day one, I'm waiting for a big crocodile.
Crocodile.
Just a
I
massive
think
one.
later is, yeah.
I want a
That's the
zombie
one.
bear. I want a bear. A wolf. I really think some sort of vampire type AI would be really fun in this game.
Already?
Like, yeah, I don't know how it would work just yet, but
Oh, we've got a revenant.
More annoying immolator.
like life leech or something. You know, it's like a boss. I guess assassin fits it too. I don't know.
Oh, a banshee.
Banshee would be
Banshee
good.
that would be interesting. Would have kind of the same purpose like Crytek when he screams when he's aggroed.
That would be cool.
So
What if it flew in the air though, so you couldn't actually hit it with a weapon melee?
so if you aggro it and she's yelling at your direction, that you can barely hear anything else for a moment, that would be interesting.
Hmm. Interesting.
I was gonna say there's no
No,
like
no, it is.
normal
It is.
AI that interferes with your sound. So yeah, that's quite cool.
Yeah, I think when I think some of us were part of the test group with when Scrapbeak was in test. We can talk about it. So
Yeah.
originally, I think the muffled sounds that was produced from his screams was a lot more severe than
Oh
what
yeah.
was actually released. I kind of missed that. And a Banshee
Yeah, same.
might actually, if it was to bring that in, even if it's just like a wandering AI, you know, dotted around here and there, it could be interesting. I think that's
It's
been
reminding
suggested
me of the
before.
witch from Left 4 Dead. That was always really creepy.
Yeah.
Mhm. More of a noise trap thing than an actual
Yeah.
lethal
Yes.
AI, perhaps.
That would fit pretty well, I think.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, we're deviating from hunters, but like we've literally covered all the things that I wanted to go over anyway, and we're moving into lore and what could
Yeah.
what could and can't be, but that's definitely a topic for another time. But so thank you very much for jumping on and just providing your say and ideas and stuff. It's actually been really interesting.
Thank you for
Thanks
having us. It was fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Thanks for inviting me.
Anytime. But we'll do a lore one next time. You can come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever you can come back, and
Are you
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
read the book though? You know,
I'll have to
you
get.
can't do a law one if you don't read the book.
Well, no, we'll get people in that are obviously
Okay.
into lore. Who do I know that's really into the lore? Amesy, he does a lot of lore, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there's people out there that have submitted works and things like that, ideas.
One of my friends is doing law streams for a while, just talking about the law, and he's got this massive spreadsheet. I'll tell you who it is later.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me know as well, please. It sounds cool.
yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Brilliant. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Bye.